Can you hear it? Welcome to Relay.
Let's see if
So look,
Oh, I have audio.
Eric,
Okay.
we keep telling you, all right? We know that you are dating a model, Eric.
Yes.
But you've gotta just fucking take it easy with the sexual positions. Today you hurt your knee. Tomorrow it could be a lot worse. And how are you going to keep her
It could be
happy
your
then?
uvula.
Yeah. What if you
I'm
damage your
quite
epidermis?
I'm quite scared of epidermis, uvula, all terrible things to damage.
It could happen.
I
I knew I had a
mean-
friend of a friend
who damaged their uvula?
damaged their uvula with cunning linguistics.
I had an imaginary
See,
friend that hurt his conch. And I say I had because he went out for cigarettes and never came back. It was my imaginary friend. He came back.
Oh, David.
They were wearing a mask.
It's been months. It's been months, maybe years.
Yes.
But David is actually pretty sloshed for a show. This is amazing, and I'm so excited. Enjoy, everybody.
Back to the old days. Oh my God,
Last scene licking gallons of languishing applesauce. It's Shiver joining us from somewhere in a navel. Once upon a time, a little boy dropped a ball. That ball fell in the ocean. That ocean led to the sea, and that sea, I don't know, Eric was in it somehow. He was like skiing on it with a motorboat, but the motorboat was made of cheese.
I'll motorboat you.
I hope so. And hi, I'm David. I like large
Fibulas.
pineapples. Good evening to everyone, and to everyone a good evening.
He's drunk, Griff. I'm very sorry. He's drunk, Griff.
I mean, to be honest, I'm not drunk yet, but hey,
He's
I'm
at the
happy.
level of drunk where he doesn't think he's drunk, but soon will be very drunk. He thinks he's just staring at the camera. The eyebrows
Also-
are moving on their own.
Sargreth, thank you. Thank you, Sargreth. I really appreciate someone adding that in because, yes, huge jacks of wand. That is one of the best movies ever made, and I will fight anyone that disagrees.
Is it the best Hot Fuzz movie ever made?
No, Hot Fuzz is the best movie ever made, but Monty Python and the Search for Holy Grail is one of the best movies ever made.
Is Hot Fuzz the best Monty Python movie?
Yes.
Why?
Because there's a goose in it.
Is what?
There's a goose in it.
Oh, Goose.
Stormy, you need to see it. It's... Eric, if
Hey,
you're
Stormy.
speaking, you're on mute.
Now I'm not on mute anymore.
You are not. Hello, Eric.
Hello.
Hello.
Stormy, if you haven't seen Hot Fuzz, you should stop watching this show and go watch it.
And if you haven't seen Monty Python's and the Search of the Holy Grail, you should also stop watching us and go watch it. Either one.
Stormy wouldn't like that.
No.
Really?
Do you not remember
Neither.
the nunnery scene?
Oh, the nunnery scene is so good. The nunnery scene is the only reason I haven't shown it to Mac yet, though.
Stormy would not appreciate that scene.
I mean, to be fair, to be completely fair, that scene doesn't really fit in the movie. But it's also so good.
You do have to see Airplane.
I mean, between Monty Python, between the Holy Grail, Hot Fuzz, and Airplane, I would personally put Airplane last.
You would.
What would
sorry.
you rate them,
Surely
Shiver?
you can't be serious.
Stop calling me Shirley. I picked a hell of a day to stop sniffing crap.
That was yeah. That's the guy who presented Unsolved Mysteries and was
Really?
also the voice of Ultra Magnus in Transformers the movie.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Swings and
Robert
roundabouts, isn't it? It's like the biscuits. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
Not because the cookies are round.
So,
Shiver,
if
when's
you
the last
haven't
time
paid-
you watched
haven't
Hot
paid
Fuzz?
attention Yet, this is a Star Citizen podcast.
At least 4 years.
Brought to you by
It's time for
Relay.
another watch. Yeah, hi there. Normally we talk about Star Citizen, but this week we're talking entirely about Hot Fuzz. This is a Hot Fuzz podcast now.
That's right. Hot Fuzz only, with mild references to the two other Cornettos
Yeah. I
and
mean, the other-
airplanes and
Monty Python.
Monty Python.
I
Yes.
feel like Search for the Holy Grail is the best of the Monty Python films, but I do also love The Life of Brian.
I think
Ugh.
I
My burger
haven't
has a
seen it.
tomato in it.
Oh,
Wholesome.
terrible.
Well, at least you
Um,
can take that out.
That is true. It's easy to take out.
But now everything's
The
got
thi-
tomato juice all over it.
Richard
rather than
Sky,
tomato sauce.
Richard, I agree with you. Airplane does have a lot of old references. It also has some like questionably like possibly racist bits that don't really work nowadays. Hot Fuzz, yeah. So I
Hot
say,
Fuzz is
son to
just a-
say, it's the same old. So the great matter of fact, some I take piece of being man. Say like the whole like jive section is questionable. It's not as bad as lots of other movies, but it is questionable.
Movies for another time.
Yeah, but
The
the great thing,
is just a work of art.
Hot Fuzz is a work of art, and Holy Grail as well. Like, there's nothing questionable in them. I mean, the oral sex is questionable, but not really.
Not really.
Not really.
Not really.
Also, the name of your sex tape.
Oh man.
Oral sex? Not really. Yeah, that sounds about right. Welcome to the
No,
relay
the oral
station.
sex was questionable.
God.
Oh, man.
It is, Sargarath. Welcome to the relay station. Ostensibly, this is where we talk about Star Citizen, and sometimes try to play Star Citizen.
And occasionally
gonna
try to
be-
use words like ostensibly.
Ostensibly, I love ostensibly. Ostensibly is ostensibly a good word. Occasionally, we try and play Star Citizen. I'm not sure if we're going to try tonight. I'm hoping that we can like drag the talking on enough, because it sounds like 318 Live is broken. But that said, 318 is live.
Yep. And we also completely expected it to be broken on going live for the last
Yes.
6 to 8 months.
But honestly, this is a good thing because it is live. Yay!
It is live.
Honestly,
Awesome.
and I know none of them will see this. I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway. Serious props to everyone at CIG for getting 318 live. It's a Herculean effort. And really proud of them. Really glad that it's live. And I know that they're going to squash the bugs and can't wait to see what comes next.
Awesome. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it is what it is. It's it's one of those patches. One of those patches, and you know what? 319 will probably do it all over again.
Well, I mean, you gotta kind of remember though, like we on here, and we don't. Let's be honest, we don't stream very often, but we've been streaming 318 PTU since 318 hit PTO. We know what's coming in 318.
Yep.
We've seen it. Lots of people have seen it. Lots of people want to play it. And honestly, this is really good because it was working in PTU, right? And people were playing enough in PTU and it was working. If it's screwing up now, it means they're getting a ton of people trying to play it, which is giving them a ton of data as to why it's not working. And this is what they need, right? I think actually last weekend they were asking everyone to jump on and like stress test for them because they needed as many people on to punish the servers to see if things were working. Clearly, and I'm just gonna throw this out here, but clearly all the problems that are happening right now are our fault. Anyone that had PTU access that didn't hop on to PTU while they were asking us to stress test, we are at fault for the problems that they're currently having because we didn't hop on and help stress test.
We're always.
I think that's
victim blaming.
I mean, wait, are we the victim?
We have been before.
But are we the victim here?
Who else would be?
The people that
Yeah,
haven't
it's
played PTU.
I suppose. I don't know. I don't think there is a victim. I just think it's a game that isn't working.
It's a victimless crime. I'm victimless blaming.
Actually, I think Jake is the victim.
That's
He's
true.
the
He's
gonna
also
get
the
it
he's
in
also
the
the he's also the perpetrator.
Well, he should come back to relay then. Done. Problem solved.
Problem solved. All right. Sorry, I just read what Sargarath wrote.
I had a similar reaction.
Okay, well, look.
Well, let's not over-engineer this stream and get to the topic of this week's Star Citizen, which is what?
No, hang on. I was ready for this. No, that was pretty good. Let's go with that.
I approve.
I approve. Approved. I was gonna first warn people that this is gonna be a slightly more hectic show.
Ready?
Sure.
We're on course as per normal so far.
This is pretty much normal, yeah. I titled this
Only
show.
when I've drunk too much coffee, Stormy.
Shiver, you know, I'm okay. I'm really, really susceptible to tangents right now.
We
He is.
noticed. Fucking
Shiver,
always-
ADHD over
I
here.
mean, David, you're never not susceptible to tangents, so you know.
I know.
it's-
I'm just
David's all
more.
like, so we're going to talk about Moose.
I love moose. Did you know that some countries actually had moose cavalry?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
Finland.
amazing.
I believe.
Why wouldn't you do that?
Does Norway still have moose cavalry?
No, nobody does.
No, no one. Everyone gave
all
up
of
on
the-
moose cavalry.
All of the experiments into domesticating moose ended with, "God damn, they eat a lot, and we can't grow any of it."
Surely you wouldn't want them that domesticated, though.
Enough
You want
to
them,
charge.
You want them domesticated enough that you can ride them.
Fair.
All of the experiments into domesticating moose realized, holy shit, you can't domesticate moose.
Basically, it's down to you can't feed them. By the way, this is Moose podcast now.
No, I look. I got derailed from my derailment. I was being derailed and then got further derailed. So I'm going back to the first derail now because
What do you
my
think
first.
you are? An American
you
train?
can't put a train in reverse once it's derailed. Oh, you killed him. It's just yeah. You just he's dead.
He's gonna throw. It looks like.
You killed him. You killed him.
I'm alive. I'm good. I was gonna say. I was gonna say. Shiver doesn't get nearly enough approbation for the amount of effort and skill and thought that he puts into streaming, and he does so much over at Table of Horrors, and it's all genuinely fantastic. And I don't think that Shiver gets enough credit for like I sit here and do absolutely nothing and stream every week, and for some reason you all show up and watch us, but Shiver puts like actual hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of effort into what he does. And Shiver, you're awesome. Thank you.
I may or may not have notes for a game open right now.
I know you do, because you always do, because you are always working on it, and I think that
Yeah.
Great. Now I have to
absolutely.
practice
Important.
self-flagellation just to balance it out.
Hats off to you, Chef.
seriously,
I actually had to go. I like, David, that when you are a little tipsy, your vocabulary broadens.
yes, it does.
Because I was like, approbation. I've heard that word before. I have no idea what that means.
But I used it correctly, did I not?
You did. You nailed it. You
I
used
know.
it perfectly.
Thank you. Hey, Spider-Man. So sorry, that was a slight
Let me
derailment.
cynically analyze these bits. We get 100 bits saying "Hooray for Shiver" in the relay channel.
Oh my god, this is a bad one, isn't it? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you should definitely go give him bits in his own channel as well.
Literally Eris, 5 minutes ago. I hope we're going to talk enough so we don't have to play the game.
I
I'm
don't
not in
think
a
that's
state
the
to-
problem.
I'm
We
not
may
in a
never
state to play
actually
the game.
touch on Spider Citizen this week.
Oh, we're going to. I'm underailing our underailments and getting back to the point at hand, which I titled this stream. I genuinely forget what I titled it, but something along the lines of the other kind of R&R, right? Because this is not rest and relaxation. This is roles and responsibilities. And the roles and
Roles? I came prepared. I got dice.
Of course you do. The roles and responsibilities come
I got more
to...
dice.
You've got too many dice. Do you have a dice problem?
Yeah, I haven't got enough dice.
That's fair.
That's the only possible dice problem.
Like, I'm going to rant now. I'm going to fucking rant because I can. Because he said, "Oh, please talk. I want you to talk." So, yeah, These are the dice I bought, right? It's 5 d20s and 10 d10s, right? They're not special, they're nothing, they're just dice. And a nice little fucking dice bag. 50 fucking quid in Akihabara.
What?
50 quid.
That's like $75. Why would you buy that? Just do a online roller. Click the button.
Because I went to Akihabara.
I guess you gotta
And I
get
was like,
something.
There's your problem.
There wasn't much, there's not much left now.
Yeah.
COVID just.
Oh, really?
Even
Yeah.
Sega World's gone.
Really?
Gundam Cafe, gone.
Damn.
Gone.
Gone. So let's get to roles and responsibilities, because this week's show of ISC, hey, we're 20 minutes in and we're getting to Star Citizen. Here we go. This week's show on engineering.
Thanks in advance, Citizen Shenanigans, for putting the time mark in the comments on YouTube. You can rely on him. Great guy. He's been following us for years. Thank you, Citizen Shenanigans, as well.
Yeah, thank you.
He never gets a call out, but he's been quietly there following.
I am convinced that everyone that follows us is a great person.
Yep.
I mean, there's only a couple of you, but thank you.
That's not what you were saying before we went live. You were like, oh, I hope that fucking Sargareth isn't in chat again. And we were like, no, leave Sargareth alone. He's all right. Jesus Christ, Eris. Bring it in a bit.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like me. 100%.
Sometimes I think we should like record our pre-show.
Pre-shows? Yeah. We should just go live in the pre-show with just the audio and the standby screen.
Shimmer's desperately like, no, don't do that.
I'm out. I'm out.
All right, let's talk engineering.
All right, let's engineer this conversation in a direction so we can talk about Star Citizen.
Yes.
And we can relay to you the information.
So, I want to start this discussion. Or no, maybe I should make the comparisons later. Let's start the discussion by Eric. In our pre-show, you were doing a very succinct, very verbose, very like well thought out explanation of, and very succinct explanation of what ISC contained. Can you please replicate your endeavors?
So this week's ISC was about the design of engineering gameplay in Star Citizen, specifically that the design has been completed and is basically final. That is not to say that it won't ever change, but they do have a working solution to, basically a document that says this is how we're going to do engineering 1.0 in Star Citizen. That basically contained 3 major roles in engineering. One is the tuner. So the tuner is going to be responsible for basically deciding how all of the components in your ship operate. They'll be setting the operational levels for all of those components to basically decide whether you want to push the ship as hard as you possibly can to get the most you possibly can out of it, or if you're tuning it back to make sure that the components last as long as possible and are as resource efficient as possible. That type of thing.
Or and that's not going to be the two, like it's not not just going to be one or the other, right? You're probably going to be able to tune for efficiency or tune for damage if you're going out to hurt things, or tune for stealth, right? You want everything, the max curves, even the max curves on everything to be really silent, right? So you'll be able to tune. You'll be able to tune in theory for any requirement that you and your team have.
Exactly. That is basically the high level overlook of the tuning gameplay. The second is mechanic. This is sort of the traditional thing you see a lot in science fiction, where they're running up and down the hallways and putting out fires and fixing things and replacing stuff. These people will have a lot of fun, probably, especially on bigger ships that are very active. Um, they basically are the troubleshooters and the fixers. They will run around the ship and try and get it operating again, or try and keep it from falling apart. The third role is managers. My speculation was that managers probably won't have a big role on smaller ships,
Yeah.
because their job is basically to manage the entire ship as a whole, and the tuners and the mechanics, and basically direct where resources go, and sort of have a high level overview of how the ship is functioning.
Honestly,
They did mention that managers probably will also be involved in doing fixing and so on as well.
my expectation of this is like on a smaller ship, even something like a Connie, there aren't going to be 3 roles of engineer.
No.
There will be 1 engineer. These
Yeah.
3, my expectation is they planned these 3 roles for something like an Idris or a Bengal, the largest possible ship. These are the roles. You have 1 manager, maybe a couple tuners, and then a bunch of maintenance people, and then it scales back to you have 1 engineer working your ship.
I'm expecting most ships that players use will have 1 engineer.
I could see a
And-
couple with 2.
Yep. Oh, totally. I'm just saying, like, the vast majority of ships that will be flown will
Well-
be Connie size or smaller.
Yeah, and here's actually where I want to. This is one of the things I wanted to interject in. Should I interject now or should I interject at the end of your thing?
Let's do it at the end, because I still have.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you do
go.
it now, it's a premature interject.
So,
I want a
um,
shirt that says that.
Well, it's easy enough.
That's amazing.
All right, Shiver, by show end, get that shirt made. I'm joking. So, the other part of this was talking about what types of failures you can see in components, what type of problems they'll be dealing with. So a lot of this is, tuners are going to be handling, as we discussed, basically conditioning all the components and deciding how they'll perform. But for mechanics, a lot of it, they talked a lot about the failures and wear and tear and stuff that you'll see. So items will have wear and tear. They will have overheating and overcooling, both. We have seen overheating. It has been one of the conditions that's been around for the longest. It hasn't always meant a lot because at times it's been broken, but we certainly know what it's about. Then they also have things like they had a myriad of different malfunctions that can happen with components, which I think is what's really going to make the gameplay really interesting. And that ranged broadly from too much power, not enough power, not enough resources, mistiming of events that happen in a component, or certain things happening at the wrong timing in a component, things to just like random failures, and of course failures that are brought about by wear and tear.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I think is, this is me going off on a very slight tangent, but I think of this type of gameplay long term is what's going to really make, if your ship's not new, there's probably not going to be a lot of ships that are the same as your ship. You will have something about your ship, like my engine always, fucks up on me, after 40 minutes in Quantum.
Well, so this is interestingly enough, this is something that they talked about years ago, where, and they talked about this when they were switching to one of the 64 bits, but it was like the 64-bit item capabilities. I don't remember what it was. It's been a decade. But basically they were saying that they have enough like unique identifiers that every single component of every single ship can be unique. So your cooler in your ship is a unique cooler. It's not like it's a drop in WoW, and it's this is the cooler for your ship, and your ship's cooler is more likely to burn out when it hits X temperature.
The glorious Carrick Harry Balsac has this,
Yes.
this cooler, and that cooler has this subcomponent inside of it that was acquired on this moon, and it's a little bit faulty because that moon, that type of shit.
Yeah.
No, it's even, and the thing that they really locked down, or that they really wanted to make sure that this happened in the game, was when they talked about doing subcomponents. So when you have components inside components, at that point, you're pretty much at a point where things are always going to be a little different on every ship.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. They did talk about how basically, so again, reiterating, the design is done. They also said that they don't, even though none of it is actually in the game right now, they did sort of reiterate that a lot of what they need to do already ties in with things that are already in work, things like resource management in ships, and like the connectivity of all of the different parts of the ship. Like we've seen connectivity, so we've seen work done on pressure and temperature and fire and relays and fuses. And power grids and that whole thing, that's all connected to this. So they did say that while it is a big thing to do, it a lot of what they are going to do has already been in work. So
this seems like more like forever. This is less defining the work that has to be done on the systems and more defining the roles of engineer. The work on the systems is already being done and already put in, and we're actually going to see that sooner rather than later as more and more components come in, which we're already getting components.
I think the big thing was deciding how failures were going to work, because that's not inherent to the system. You have to program that. Like you need to create the real gameplay scenarios, like what can go wrong, how can it go wrong, in what sequence does it go wrong, how deep does that go. But I like what they're designing. Anyway, I'm done with my explanation.
One thing on that, I will say that we might actually see this sooner than we would imagine, because this is unlike many other like gameplay loops in that it doesn't require as much like unique art.
I would say no unique art, probably.
Right? This is like,
this is mostly code.
It's code. So
the UI parts will probably need to be done. But in terms of like, a lot of the art has already been done for this.
Yeah. So this requires a lot less like art stuff on the end. So this is going to be a lot more code centric, which means I think it's going to come sooner, like more quickly than some of the other ones.
The other thing
anyway,
is, I would expect it to be done. I would say that it would need to be done for Squadron as well.
It has to be, yes.
Like effectively complete. So
Shiver, you're looking
I'm having several immature moments. Ignore me. Carry on.
Okay.
Oh no!
Everything's becoming innuendo right now.
You're not risable to the occasion?
I'm not.
We would like to detail all of your immature moments live on Relay Station. So go ahead.
All right. It's fine. It's fine.
Did you like my ship name? Was that the? Yeah.
That's where it started, and from there everything just became an innuendo. And I'm just saying.
And from that, everything just got harder and harder.
Yeah.
I just love the way that you both went in there, hands on.
Oh yeah.
And then you just, you managed to pull it off.
Like shoulder deep, even.
Yeah.
Yeah, got him.
Oh god.
Okay.
If I say it, you're all just going to give me a mouthful.
Oh jeez.
I tried interjecting in the middle of this. Can one of you please remind me what I was interjecting to? Because it slipped my mind.
It was before I started talking about malfunctions and after I talked about design. Basically, when I was wrapping up talking about design, how the design was basically done. No, well, it is done. Also talking about how bits of it were, already created.
No, there was something else there. There was an important point to make, and it's gone now.
That's okay. You'll find it in.
It's buried fist deep.
Hey, David.
Yeah.
You could flip us over to show and tell and start the video for.
Oh, right. We have videos. Oh, I mean, okay. You're gonna have to give me a minute because I didn't prep them. So give me a second here.
4 videos. Ow.
Too busy with your premature interjection again.
Yeah.
Yep. Regardless, engineering's been a big part of science fiction for a while. It's going to be a big part of Star Citizen if it's done properly. It could be like that, for a lot of people it can make the game. It's another one of those things where if Star Citizen's done properly, you could get to the point where there will be whole things that like people just do engineering in Star Citizen. That's what they do.
Yeah.
They don't do other things. That's what they do. They're an engineer. They become specialized in doing that. That is what they like to do in the game. And unlike most games, Star Citizen seems to really be aiming towards allowing people to do that stuff. Like if you just want to be an FPS combat soldier, you can do that. If you just want to be an engineer on a ship, you can do that. You just want to be a farmer, it sounds like you'll be able to do that. That type of thing.
And again, if you want an org that is just dedicated to one specific thing and you put your people in your org just up for hire, it's another thing you can do. You could have just an org of in essence merc engineers for hire, merc soldiers for hire, and anything in between. Because again, you never know there's going to be someone who's going to get that almighty huge ship that doesn't have enough friends, or one of your friends can't make it on designated playtime. So you just got to go and quickly say, "Can I borrow one of your engineers for a night?"
Yep. Oh, and
I'll leave the money on the counter.
I can 100% see people playing as a mercenary engineer. They log on, there'll probably be a bunch of like beacons out asking for an engineer, and you just go and find the one you're interested in, and you sign up to be that person's engineer for the evening.
And it's also a great way for someone who may not be able to ever see the inside of a Bengal in game to just have a wander around and work on a Bengal.
Exactly.
Here's my thought. I think this is what I was trying to get at earlier, but didn't. I could be wrong. I don't remember. I wanted to talk actually about those 3 roles.
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems like those 3 roles are interesting in that there's 2 of them that you're probably normally not going to need.
Yep.
Most people are not going to use a tuner. Most people will probably take their ship factory default and run it, right? Because it's going to run factory default. It'll be fine. And most people are not going to run a ship of the size that needs a manager.
Yep.
So most people that engage in maintenance and engineering will just use the maintenance person.
Well,
when necessary.
I expect basically a lot of people to end up, not quite the right term, but basically triple classing and doing all 3.
Yes.
And one.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing to stop someone from specializing in any and everything they want. There's no real class system.
Well, but that's where my question came in, because
and it's not a speciality.
Well, here's the thing. Tuning At least by the sounds of it, and at least by what they were talking about in the ISC this week. Tuning, it sounds like it's all done before you even leave on your voyage. You won't be tuning much mid-voyage. So you
can,
could,
but most of the work is preparatory. Yeah.
right, but it's not that you can't, but they were saying that most of it's preparatory, most of it's before you even launch. So you don't even necessarily want a tuner on your ship, but you might have people, and I can entirely
salmon?
see. I only like salmon if it's teriyaki.
That's a weird thing to. Okay.
Like when cooked, it has to be like teriyaki. It has to be heavily. I don't like cooked fish.
You just like raw fish?
I like raw fish, like raw salmon in sushi, phenomenal. But
Yeah,
like
agreed.
cooked salmon by itself, not very good. Cooked salmon's only good if you heavily spice or heavily marinate it, in which case
What
you
about
better be
smoked
marinating
salmon?
it with teriyaki, because teriyaki is the best marinade. I don't like smoked anything. I don't smoke shit.
Really?
I don't smoke.
So about
So-
this tuna.
I feel like there will be people in Star Citizen that their entire thing is they like you can be the best tuner and people will pay you to tune their ship before they set out, and you don't set out on their ship with them. They just give you access to their ship to tune it specifically to the mission that they want, and you tune it for them, and then you go off to the next ship that you want to tune because you like tuning.
But then this
Yep.
this tuner is also, if he wants to, he's also going to be able to pick up a gun and be a soldier for you. He will
He
have
could.
a license to kill.
He could, but that tuner probably really wants to stay in his can. He really likes his like little
There will
enclosed
be
area.
There will be people like that
But-
who will operate a
Yeah.
little business at tuning ships, and that's what they do.
And whether or not, I don't know if they've really said anything in the way of cybernetics or anything like that, but whether or not the cybernetics are going to work for you or not, because if you become really dexterous with normal hands and it takes you a bit of time to adjust to having a cybernetic arm or something like that, you might have to change from being a tuner to a robocod.
God damn it. Anyway, I think that's really interesting.
I do. And one of the things I think is really valuable is like some of the, and you talked a little bit about this, Shiver, but I immediately
I'll be
brought
right
to
back.
mind
Carry
like,
on.
somebody who has this skill set for tuning, but also is a decent shot. They can tune the ship before it leaves, and then they can be like a turret gunner when they're on the ship. Or, and this is going to happen a lot, if somebody's particularly talented in engineering, there's a good chance that they will just do both. They will be a tuner, and they will also be a mechanic.
The other thing is, if you are really good at tuning as well, you could also end up becoming a spy or something like that. Like James Pond.
Amazing. Additionally, they did talk about this, and I forgot to mention it a little bit earlier, but they did talk about, and this is something that I've always thought was important, is that one of the things that will make a good engineer, and is an important skill, is just knowing and understanding the components, knowing how they work, and what different states they are in at various times, how those timing cycles work. They talked about how those timing cycles going wrong can cause malfunctions. Also, knowing when you can actually shut down a piece of equipment to do maintenance on it, because maybe if you try and shut it down in a particular moment, it will catastrophically fail or something like that. There's a lot of these types of things. And I think that part is also what makes for a skilled gameplay, is just there's no like tangible aspect to it in the game. It's you have experience and you understand what to do. You know what I mean?
Do you have an SG?
Okay.
What?
I'm stopping the show and tell for a moment because hi, I'm back. And
Where's
Uh-oh.
your Where's the SG?
the SG?
Guitar. The SG. I'm trying to see the SG. Move your bloody head.
Not here.
He doesn't have an SG. Do you mean the guitar in the middle? Because that's not an SG.
No.
Is that an electroacoustic?
So this is a hollow body that my guitarist years ago, we started playing a show and his guitar wasn't playing anything and he was feeling really anxious, so he smashed it on stage. Turns out the pickup, one of the pickups to the soundboard from the venue wasn't working. So I modified it by attaching a Fender Strat head, like neck to it. So it's just a hollow body with a Fender neck on it.
That's kind of like what Iron Maiden do with their guitars. I think, if I remember right, they are sponsored or something like that. They endorse Fender guitars, but then they buy a Fender, they take the neck off, good
Yeah.
move, replace it with a Jackson. They take the humbuckers off, replace them with decent humbuckers, and it's basically,
Yeah.
yes, this is a Fender. Fender, give us money.
No, I don't have an SG. I really want an SG, to be honest. I've always loved SGs. I want a
They're fucking heavy.
what I want most is a Rickenbacker bass. I love Rickenbacker basses. They're just beautiful things of beauty. This actually, this
I
is
want
the
an
first.
Ibanez carbon fiber because my back is shit. That's about the
This is
only
the
I can
first
handle.
bass I ever owned, and a couple of years ago, I removed all of the frets and turned it into a fretless by filling the grooves with just like filler wood and then recoating it, and it's a
That's
fretless
nice.
now.
That's cool.
Sorry, that's a
Is
weird
that-
little.
Is that your entire guitar collection?
No, I've got one upstairs. I'm trying to persuade my daughter to learn how to play on a Vantage Les Paul knockoff. But yeah, that's what I've got. Oh no, and my bass.
No
I've got a Fender Strat P bass that's off for repairs.
Got a BC
Or no,
Rich
it's a
Warlock.
Music Man. Sorry, it's a Music Man. I've got a P-Ball Music Man off for repairs. Okay,
BC
sorry,
Rich Warlock.
that's
Washburn Culprit, Jackson Randy Rhodes, a Jackson PS4 that's been customed. Oh fuck! What's the other one?
got a
Oh,
couple
another
there.
one somewhere. I got 5 and
5?
some cheap SG knockoff.
Everyone has an. I love SGs. They're lovely. Okay, sorry. That was an aside. There was something I was going to say. Right. I wanted to talk a little bit about this engineering gameplay. Because we don't know a ton about it yet. There's sort of what they've said in this design document, which I want to take this moment to thank CIG for doing this. This sort of stuff, and I know that they're going to get flack for it not showing things or like whatever people complain about. I don't give a shit what people complain about. People suck. This is fantastic.
That's awesome.
I want to know what their thinking is as they're designing this, as they've finished the document and they're like, yeah, this is what we want to do with it. It's fantastic because I've wondered about this for years and how this is going to work. And we've had little tidbits here and there of like, there's going to be like lines that run between like pads and components, and like things are going to be physicalized, and we know that, but we don't really know how the engineering aspect of it is going to work. And this has shown us a lot more about how the engineering aspect of it is going to work. And on seeing this episode, my first thought, and I don't know if either of you have ever played it, And I don't know if anyone in chat has ever played it. Please, even if you're normally a lurker, please tell me if you have, because I don't think a ton of people have. Barotrauma.
No. I've heard about it. Haven't played it.
Because if you want
Don't make me have a remembrance.
if you want to know how, and this is just me, but if you want to know what my first thought when I hear all of this Star Citizen engineering is, it's barotrauma. Because barotrauma, you've got an engine, and the engine runs off a nuclear reactor, and the nuclear reactor has to have, like, its heat is monitored, and you can't go too hot or it'll overreact, and you can't go too cold or it won't power things. And then there are lines that run between everything, and you have to make sure the lines are correct, and when it hits the engine, it powers out to the other components of this submarine. Barotrauma is Star Citizen engineering in a submarine. If you want to know how Star Citizen engineering is going to work, barotrauma. It's a 2D thing. You've got a captain, you've got a gunner, you've got a soldier, you've got 2 different types of engineers on the ship. You can have like a mechanic and an engineer, and there are different subsystems that they excel in. Like one of them excels in like electrical subsystems. Yeah, mechanical and electrical. There it is. Like, my immediate thought was barotrauma. So I seriously actually recommend looking up barotrauma and seeing how barotrauma plays. Maybe not buy it, but like watch a YouTube or something, because I really think that that's the not aesthetic, but like the vibe that we're gonna get from engineering in Star Citizen. And holy shit, in barotrauma, it's a good fucking vibe. Like, you can't see outside of your sub unless you're looking at a periscope. Right? So you're relying entirely on sonar as you traverse through these underwater caverns, and like you can ping out on radar and you see things coming and they attack your ship, and all of a sudden you've got leaks and you've got like the guns aren't working. So the engineer, one of the engineers has to run to try and get the guns working again, and one of the engineers has to run and try and plug the leaks, and the captain is trying to shout orders, and the gunner's trying to get his guns to work, and it's fucking hectic as shit.
I'd imagine this is also the first release as well, with further iterations and stuff as well. I can see them wanting and eventually putting in like on the relays actual equipment that needs to have work and improvement or anything like that as well. But the basic structure, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
It's, I don't know. I remember playing, like, my friends and I, we didn't get really into barotrauma. We were playing barotrauma a bunch, and then Total War Warhammer 3 came out, and that sort of took over our lives on our Thursdays. Yep. It's the best game ever made. But we were really, really enjoying barotrauma because it was so chaotic and so like each person had a role and each person really had things to do. And I've wondered a lot about how Star Citizen is going to get there, right? I've seen a lot of people this week complaining about, actually, let's swap back to show and tell and talk about this. The Antares. I've seen a lot of people this week complaining about the Antares because it requires people are complaining about it because it's the Scorpius, but it requires a second person to run the, like, what's it called? The EMP and the, like, anti-ship stuff and the quantum jammer and all that stuff. Like, it requires a second person in the ship to run all that. And I've seen a lot of people complaining about how that's crap and like there's nothing for the second person to do and it's boring and yada yada. And part of me can see what they're saying. It's a small ship. The engineer's not going to have a ton else to do other than do those things. But this isn't a ship to go all over the place and hop planet to planet and engage. This is a ship designed for attacking shit. And if you want to attack something, well, you've got a second person to attack it with. And that's the role of the ship. I think that people are often getting confused with every ship should be available to do every single thing.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that I think that ships fit roles. You're not going to be able to take a freaking Aurora and go find a new star system with it.
Yeah.
Couldn't you as well assign the engineer other tasks as well?
Well,
so he's not literally just the EMP man. Can't he also be the guy who's doing power distribution and things like that as well?
And you could, and I think that's where we get like in a ship like the Antares. The Antares is probably the lowest denominator, right? That is the ship where the engineer has the least to do. The co-pilot. Well, it's similar.
He's a turret gunner on that as well.
He's a turret gunner in that, yeah. It's similar, right? So in those ships, but it's not just an engineer, right? You're running a bunch of things. You're running the shields. You're running the power distribution. But on anything bigger than that, that engineer is running around fixing shit. And if CIG take anything from Barotrauma, in Barotrauma, just by piloting through the murky underwater, I think it's like under seas of like that Jupiter moon that has seas under it. Help me, Eric.
Sorry, what was that?
The moon of Jupiter that has water. Is it Europa?
There are several, but Europa is probably the one you're thinking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Europa's almost certainly the one you're thinking about. Yeah.
Like as you're piloting through the like dark seas of Europa, everything on your ship is slowly deteriorating. And I think that that's probably how CIG will do it. And it's going to be slow, but like even on a Cutlass, for example, you're going to have to repair shit all the time.
I could also see things like EMPs being particularly
hard.
Maybe what is the word I'm looking for here? Being particularly sort of twitchy and unpredictable, and I could definitely see there being moments where you have to like troubleshoot why the EMP isn't working, and you need a person to do that, and that just totally makes sense to me.
And also, and I have to say, sorry, go ahead, Trevor.
What about the one-man version only though? If it's going to be deteriorating, even if it's slowly, is he completely fucked?
There's one-man version of the Scorpius.
Is there not? I thought there was.
No, it's only two. But like the Scorpius, the engineer's not going to get out mid-flight and repair it, right? That's a you're going to fly around, you're going to shoot stuff.
Mid-flight, probably.
Mid-flight, maybe, but honestly, I don't even think mid-flight because it doesn't have the range. Right, you're going to need someone with long enough range to have to actually jump out and do repairs. Freelancer Dur, Freelancer Dur, yes.
Yeah. For sure.
Carrick,
for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, even come on, Shiv, you've got one of these bastards. Oh, you son of a bitch!
Can I mention one while you're thinking?
Yeah, go.
Another one where it's going to be really important and is going to come up a lot is mining ships. They will often be far from anything and will often probably have ship break. And that's the one where I can definitely see having somebody who knows how to fix things is going to be huge.
And not just someone that knows how to fix things, but I also think it's really important that you see on the Vulture they have that machine that can print certain things.
Yeah,
and I think
sure.
as they expand components, they're going to expand what you can print. So you might actually end up being able to, this part on your Vulture broke. You can print a repair and then go out and hand repair it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Vanguard.
Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, like even on the Vanguard, which is 2-man, the other dude or dudette or dude they dude, and so on.
Hey, dude. I like Hey, dude. That's a good one.
They dude. They've got a turret, but you can also walk around the ship. Very limited, of course. So your engineering on there is, a little bit more interesting in that. Oh, that component. So,
man.
whereas the Scorpius, you're just stuck in a seat.
Engineering on the Vanguard is going to be really interesting, actually, because you'll probably have interior and exterior aspects to it.
Yep.
Mhm.
But also, I'm harkening back to the design of the Vanguard. It is designed to have a lot of redundancy. So there will
Yeah.
be a lot of decisions as an engineer as to like swap components between the different systems to get things up and running properly. Do I like try to create one sort of side of the redundant systems that is completely like intact, and do I like pull components from the other side? Well, like there'll be a lot of decisions like that in that ship, which should be really interesting.
So here's the thing. CIG aren't balancing for right now. I mean, they are a bit. Hey, Calfee. CIG are a little bit balancing for now, but they're a lot balancing for later as well.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things I think that a lot of people forget is, let's take the Super Hornet, for example.
Yep.
Which is, for some reason, one of the more popular ships in the verse. And I hate to remind you all, but the Super Hornet is it's a carrier-launched fighter.
Yep.
It's a carrier-launched fighter. Its job is to
Base
launch.
Of operations launch fighter.
Base of operations launch fighter. Its operation is to launch, do things in a very small radius, and come back.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, the second person on there isn't expected to have a shit ton of shit to do, because you know what? They're not launching the fucking Super Hornet until there's something to fight. It's launched
or regular
because you've got
patrol
something
route around, but that's going to be more single player than Star Citizen. But then you've also got your own base of operations. You can fit one in Eris's Endeavor, hopefully, or something like that. And
but
it's basically the point is it's not a long range fighter,
and it's
Coffee nailed it.
Yeah, that's the point.
The Hornet's pretty okay in Stanton. Pyro is a much bigger system.
But the same goes for the Antares. Like the Scorpius is the same idea as the Hornet.
There are a lot of in Star Citizen. There are a lot of ships that are carrier or
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna flip this around. Who cares about where they launch from? They're short range. There's a lot of short range.
Short range.
And you have a couple options in a place like Pyro. You're basically down to becoming an expert at hopping between the places you can get to, or you fly in formation with a fuel tanker.
Yep.
That's the deal.
Or you have a base. You live on your Drake.
Or you have a carrier. I'm talking about
you have a carrier.
You want to have a carrier.
Kraken,
well,
thank you.
You're basically down to having a refueling ship nearby.
But the point I'm trying to make is a lot of people are complaining that the Antares, well, there's not a lot for that second ship to do. And the point that I'm trying to say is, well, if that Scorpius, as it's designed, if that Scorpius is launching, then there's something for that second person to do.
Yeah, I would agree. You should have a mission already in mind by the time you leave anywhere. So you're going and doing that mission and then coming back to wherever it is.
And you're not doing a bunch of like landing depots in your ship. You're not doing it, but you're shooting shit. You're launching, you're shooting shit, you're coming home.
Yep.
So yeah, you know what? That entire time, guess what? There's something for your other person to do.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it'll be fine. And I do think that it's important to reiterate, like, not all ships have to be, like, they don't need to be generalists. They shouldn't be. They, if you try and treat that ship like an exploration ship or something, yeah, it might be a little boring for the person in the second seat, but you're basically using the ship in a way it's not intended to be used anyway. And
I mean, it's also a lookout to a degree.
oh yeah, for sure. Yep.
Yeah, you're not entirely limited to just press EMP button, wait however long it takes to recharge, press EMP button.
Oh no, it's got a lot of firepower too, which is nice. But no, I agree with Griffin, and I was actually going to bring that up earlier. Their video for the Antares was a very good example of how you use that ship. It is in fleet battles and in the shit. You're using it in the shit, and it's not wandering a star system. It's used in conflicts.
And I think the problem is that people keep expecting it to be like, well, this is the ship that me and my friend take around to do everything. And it's like, no, you want that, get a Reliant, get something, get a Connie, get a freelancer, right?
A freelancer can do all those things. It has lots of different stuff it can do. I know you hate the design of it, but it can do lots of stuff.
I mean, it needs a redesign, but it's an important point.
I think it was JJ somewhere. I'm pretty sure. I know it was JJ who said, if you've got a specialized task, you want your best tool in your arsenal for the specialized task. Your specialized task is going out there and shooting shit. Use a Scorpius or something like that. If you're just general dogs bodying out there, use a freelancer or something like that. That you have the options, and that's kind of one of the best. That is the appeal of a sandbox: is your options. Use the tools. The best tool that you have for the right job.
No, absolutely.
Well, and like,
there's Scorpius... gonna be trouble. There's gonna be trouble if I try to take my prospector out there into battle.
Yeah,
like it's gonna. I couldn't do it. I can do it. It has weapons, but do I expect it to do it well? No, I don't. Not at all.
Yeah.
And the whole series is a really good example. They are enormous ships, some of them.
So huge.
They have at best functional defense.
Yeah.
It's minimal. The really big ones have what looks like a lot of defense, but you're hauling what is probably millions or possibly billions of UEC in cargo. It's not a lot of defense. They will need to hire people to protect them.
It's not.
That is
it's
not
an
a hull.
easy
Is not
take,
a hull. Is not.
But
a
at
ship.
the same time, it's also not easily defensible on its own.
Not at all.
If you've got a couple of vanguards on you, yeah, you're going to sit there for a good long while, absolutely. But you're not going to be taking those vanguards out.
Well, yeah, Griffin. What I'm talking about is relative to the value of the cargo they're carrying. They are not good not highly defensible ships.
The thing is,
they need an escort. That's what they're designed for. They're designed to promote that gameplay of like, I have this cargo load that absolutely cannot be destroyed. So I need to hire 5 other ships to make sure that I get where I'm going.
Their defenses
play it safe, but cut into your profit margins and stick with milk runs.
The defenses on especially the larger hulls, C through E. The defenses are there basically entirely to say, okay, this ship that's attacking me can't just like sit there unmoving, firing without end, right? I've got something firing on them. They're going to have to move at least a little bit, which means I will hopefully have time to either get my people that I've got on me engaged, or and I think CIG want to I think CIG want to balance this enough that, let's say you are on a Hull C run and you're out in the middle of nowhere and you do get attacked. I think they want there to be enough time for you to put out a beacon.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah, for sure.
The turret's more of a placebo.
It is, but it's something to keep, like, if the ships that is attacking you just sits there without moving and shoots you, that turret is going to kill them. But if they move, then they're going to have a harder time. Like, it's just to keep them moving.
It's basically just to delay long enough for help to arrive. That's basically what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just saying, with a Hull E, you're going to have so much value in cargo that you will be basically buoying up the whole economy by paying a whole bunch of people to come with you.
Well, and
people will attack you. I know people don't think that anyone will attack a Hull E. People will attack you because some of the things you're carrying are going to be worth an enormous amount of money.
The thing that I think is going to be really interesting to see is you're on a Hull E. You've got, 15 billion UEC worth of cargo in your hold, and you get attacked. What's going to attack you? Let's say, let's hang on. No. But let's say,
well, it's got to be cost effective as well. Whoever's eyeing it up has also got to say, okay, this is my flat rate. I've still got profit if I use this kind of fleet of ships.
But here's what I'm thinking is, like, you're a Hull E. Do you have the ability to, like, drop pods 500 through 510?
Surely you do, yeah.
Yep, yeah, for
sure.
Yeah,
and then the person that
you can't unload if you're unloading it, you wouldn't be just like beep, fuck.
Yeah, well, but that's the thing. So there's going to be this interesting gameplay where, like, you're being attacked by a couple of cutlasses and the fucking asymmetrical one, the Drake asymmetric, the Caterpillar.
Oh, the Corsair.
No, the Caterpillar.
The Caterpillar. Yeah.
Oh,
you're being attacked by a Corsair, 2 Caterpillars, and a couple of cutlasses. They all start with C's. Shouldn't they all start with D's? It's Drake.
Well, they didn't want to be dicks about it.
Anyway, but, like, even if the Hull E drops like a 1/10 of its cargo, a couple of Caterpillars wouldn't be able to fill their hulls with a 1/10 of a Hull E's cargo, right?
So that'll be a really good defensive tactic for Hull E, is just to drop cargo.
Yeah.
Be like, here, munch on this while I leave.
Well, and I think that's going to be some of the interesting things that you start to see is, like, you're in a Hull E, you're transiting, you get pulled out of Quantum. Okay, well, your first thing might not actually be call for help. Your first thing might be, okay, what's actually attacking me? Well, negotiation, or what's attacking? Oh, it's one cutlass attacking me?
Here, I'll drop one
of my cargo modules, and I'm gonna keep going. And it's either gonna take it, there's going to be some.
Yeah.
Because
people who have a hull are going to be a lot more inventive in their defensive capabilities than we can possibly imagine.
Mm-hmm.
The thing
but you're not dogfighting in that.
That's what I was thinking, Chris, but I didn't want Captain Pants to go off on me.
Fair enough. Like, what's a cutting good? Okay, let's say a Corsair, something that could actually maybe do something. But, like, you got to think that the Corsair doesn't necessarily, like, the Corsair doesn't know what it's pulling out of Quantum, right? It doesn't get to. Does it get to choose? Oh, I'm going to let that pass. I'm going to let pass
on it. So it would be like, judging by this signature, this is an incredibly large ship. Let's pull it out and see what it is.
You'll probably be able to know what is in Quantum, yes. Yeah. I'm getting that feeling from the way that they've been talking about the gameplay.
Okay.
Otherwise, it doesn't make much sense from a pirate's
But then-
perspective.
Any pirate worth his salt that's actually going to be taking on a Hull E is going to have a plan. Surely is going to have a plan to say that I just need this much cargo to make it profitable. I've got something waiting in the wings to go and throw it on the back of the van, and then I can throw it back off and get enough money. Because a pirate is not going to want to hang around throwing all these boxes into a caterpillar, come back, throw it back into another caterpillar,
think-
because that's how the pirate
Yeah.
gets pirated.
I think what you're going to see is a lot of drop us X number of cargo, or we blow you up.
The other thing is, the whole pilot could just be like, all right, I've got a section of cargo just for this, and it's just full of cuddly toys, and it's going to take them about half an hour. So they're like, see ya, suckers. And then he takes off with the actual unobtainium to wherever he needs to go.
For sure.
Griff,
I
the
do agree.
The Hully is only going to smoke some Corsairs if the Corsairs sit still enough for it to hit, and if the Corsairs don't have anything backing them up. Corsairs may be a
I don't
bad
think it could
thing.
smoke- I don't think it could take a Corsair out. I think it could, if it's just one Corsair, it's going to be like two big dudes just hitting each other and neither of them getting anywhere for hours.
Yeah, no.
Even if it's
I agree. I agree. A single Corsair won't do shit against the Hully, probably. Not if it has a. Okay, this is all reliant on the fact that they actually have
Yeah.
somebody who knows how to operate their turret gun. Like you have to actually hit the ship to blow it up.
Yeah.
I do
if
agree.
you
though,
have
Griffin,
if you have one
if you have
person. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say if you have a like competent crew, they should be able to defend themselves, against a minor attack. But what I said the whole time, Griffin, is not necessarily that Hully is weak to attack. It's weak to attack versus how much value it carries. It will still be a good target even with big weapons on it. Which I think you'd totally agree with me on.
Yeah.
It's going to be an extremely interesting gameplay aspect. People will try to snipe those ships, especially orgs will try to snipe them because it's an easy way to make a bunch of money all at once.
Go
I
ahead, Trevor.
wouldn't go so far as to say it's going to be a pirate's end game taking on a Hully, but it's definitely going to be up there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
'Cause like everyone is saying, it's a major operation. Boarding that bastard. You've got to organize that.
Well,
And then
I
where
want to
you're gonna
say
take it, there's just a lot. There's a lot.
I want to say
going on.
so CIG. I don't know. Does anyone know? Because someone probably knows better than I do and remembers better than I do, especially right now. Was the Hull C sold free for all, or was it limited quantity? Or sorry, the Hull E, was it free for all, or was it limited
The Hully
quantity?
was free for all.
I think they were always free for all because the whole idea behind them is that they were the backbone
Was it
of the
limited?
JJ
trade.
says they were. JJ says they were limited.
If JJ says it was limited, that's
Then it was
worth
limited.
taking note of. I
Then it
thought
was
it
limited.
was. Yeah, I thought it was
The thing I want to say is, and I don't think they've been sold for a while. Limited time, unlimited quantity. Yeah.
Quantity.
No
And then at
apologies
first they were-
necessary at
okay,
all.
Okay.
I
At
think what we
first they
might
were
see,
free for all, then they were limited.
because the Hull E hasn't been sold for a while, and from what I remember the last time CIG really talked about this, is the Hull E breaks the game currently. The Hull E
Well, it does.
is
Well, the whole C breaks the game currently.
Yeah.
So
but the D's and the E's break the fucking game.
Yep.
Which is a problem. And I think what we might see is the Hull E is either not going to go on sale again, or if it goes on sale again, is going to be in very limited quantities. Because I feel like CIG aren't going to want a ton of Hull E's out there. Hull
There
E's
will
are going to
be-
have to.
there will
They're
be a
going to
ton of
also
Hull
have
Es.
to be.
I do expect there to be a shit ton of Hull Cs. because
Seas, yes.
they've described them in the past as being basically the backbone of all trade
Stees, yes.
in UE.
But D's and E's, I feel like they have to be limited. And I feel like D's and E's also have to be extremely expensive to run.
Oh god, yeah,
right?
they will.
So
they have gigantic engines, and it'll be very expensive to run them.
So I think we're gonna like a lot of it's going to come down to how many Hull E's are actually running and how many people have them, and then whether or not there's enough value in pirating them, and whether like there's going to be a shit ton of calculus. There will be, but where's the level, right? Like there's not value in pirating it if you're a solo operation. There is value in pirating it if you have so many people, but then at some point there won't, like there's going to be this like median, this like green zone that is, yes, we pirate it.
That's right? The whole deal with pirating is you got to very quickly assess the risk of what you're taking and the value of it.
You
go ahead, Shiver.
Realize that CIG have got a lot of thought and gameplay to put into mercantilism, because
yes, they do.
You know what ship we haven't even considered in any sense of the word yet should be up there at the moment? It's a Banu merchantman.
Yep.
No, yeah, I'm absolutely thinking about it.
That's not just a hauler, is it? That's
nope.
a mobile shop. Not that just one shop either.
And that's one that will be very hard. Like the Hull E does. You guys are entirely correct. It does have some ability to punch back, but not very good in terms of its relationship to its
value,
its potential value. The Banu merchantman is going to be a hard ship to justify attacking.
It's a blockade runner. Its entire purpose is to run blockades.
It has enormous weapons.
Yep.
Really?
The merchantman has enormous weapons. It has ships on board. Well, it has at least one. Is it one defender or
it's one defender?
One defender on board.
Yes.
It is what looks like extremely resistant to attack, and the cargo's not on the outside. It's gonna be really interesting watching the interplay between these different, gigantic cargo ships.
The merchantman, Shiver.
The merchantman is.
Well, the merchantman was at least at the beginning listed as a blockade runner.
Okay. Not the ship I'd think of as a blockade runner, but
it's got the two. It's got the folding out guns that are like size 5, size 6s, and its goal is to just blast it and power through.
Yeah, it's power through bit, and I just picture the merchantman just going. But the merchantman. If you want to get profitable with raiding a merchantman, you've got to board that sucker. There's no two ways about it. You have to, and that's when you're really going to hit a wall, because it's not like any other. It's not like a hull ship. You haven't just got to face the crew or the possibility of a small squad team. That's
JJ's right there.
Space. I'm sorry. Bring back Final Space. Fuck off.
I watched it all.
It has shops on it. You will have to defend people literally defending their shops. You are fighting a mini community on the Banu merchantman.
Maybe. I think the Banu merchantman is reaching. I don't know how much it's gonna like. I think you're gonna struggle to get a bunch of people that want to like be just a shop owner on the ship. They're gonna have to be some other stuff. Like it's gonna be weird. They'll want their own.
NPCs are gonna be a thing.
Yes, NPCs are true. What I wanted to say was that if you're looking at the Hull E, the Hull D, even the BMM, Star Citizen is an MMO. All MMOs have raids. Hey, Escavian!
Wow.
All MMOs have raids. I feel like a pirate raid is something like a Hull E, or like one of a pirate's raids is organizing as a group to take on a Hali. You have to have you have to have people to pull it out of quantum, and you probably have to have a couple things to pull it out of quantum because you don't know exactly where it's going to come. And then you have to have the attackers ready, and then you have to have the cargo haulers ready, and you're not just going to need a couple of cargo haulers. Everyone's going to have to hop out and move the cargo, right?
The alternative to this, and JJ's talked about this a bit in chat, is they could do the Somali pirate deal where they don't give a shit about unloading the ship. They're just going to steal the ship with all of its cargo. And you don't need all the other stuff. You just need to board it.
But then you might you raise the risk of the person just self-destructing.
Not as much.
You're basically screwed if you self-destruct it.
Well, but you're screwed if they steal your cargo.
Yeah, but a lot of people will go down fighting.
Yeah, that's plan Z.
It is, but it's going to be a whole balance.
What you need to do is have someone from the current timeline run into your ready room as you're remodulating the phaser and compare you to Captain Ahab from Moby Dick. Then you're convinced to blow up the damn ship. Then you've got to apologize to your former security officer.
This is a reference I don't get.
The JJ, I don't think that either scenario is really true. I think both things will happen. I don't think that there's a hard line on pirates will not steal cargo, because one of the things we've seen as cargo on these ships is ships. They will be transporting ships. I can definitely see a pirate pulling up alongside a Hali and blasting the like clamps off of a Hornet that it's carrying and stealing the Hornet.
Yep.
You know, like I could see that happening. It's gonna be an adventure. It's gonna be interesting to watch them create the game
later, Griff.
surrounding those ships.
Love you, Griff.
Take care, Griff.
Thank you, Griff. Have a good one.
We will see you in October. What I want to say about the ransoming of the ship and crew, that's a really interesting question because CIG haven't talked about this in a long time. Actually, I don't think they've talked about this specifically ever, but they've talked a bit about bounty hunting. And one of the things they talked about bounty hunting a long time ago, and they might have superseded this, I don't remember. The last I can remember hearing is like, let's say you're a bounty hunter and you capture, I'm a bounty hunter, and Shiver just killed Nakara. And I capture Shiver. And there's a reward out for his bounty. And I capture him and I take out his ship and I EMP it and I get him into the back of my Avenger and he's in that bounty hunting box. But he's a player.
Yep.
Yeah.
As a player, he's not going, like, they're not going to make him sit the entire time that I've captured him and take him to prison and hand him in my ship.
I think realistically what'll happen is that you capture him, you put him in whatever cell you have for him, and then probably you'll just be able to like contact the person who gave you the contract and say, I have done this thing, and the player's thing will fade to black and they'll respawn.
But I think
I would imagine something similar. At most, you've got to take the empty shell of a corpse to such and such place.
You might have to
spawn in a prison camp or something.
But I think the same thing will probably happen for, where was it? Oh God, it was in there somewhere. I can't find it.
Ransoming the ship.
Ransoming, sorry.
Crew.
Ransoming the crew. Like, I don't know that you're going to be able to get a large ransom for the crew because they're just going to respawn. Like, for human crew, I don't know if you'll get a large ransom, because why would I pay you ransom? I'm just going to respawn.
Yeah, but you don't know how many lives that person has left. You don't know what the consequences of them respawning is. It's the risk you take with piracy. You could also just have a massive bluff.
I don't know. I think
It's the social side of the MMO.
yeah.
I don't think with the Holly
Arguably one of the best sides.
with the Holly comparison, they're not ransoming the crew; they're ransoming the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ship
crew-
has 18
Come on.
billion credits of cargo.
Let's look at capitalism today in the United States, and what's worth more, an entire town of civilians or one train load of explosive cargo?
Always.
I know which way
train.
capitalism leads. It's not the people.
Always the train.
Are you lost, Shiver?
I just thought they kept that was the reason that all those trains kept derailing, was because they were like, fuck it. Can't be bothered to pay money.
Sorry, JJ.
That's a deeper problem. The state didn't spend any money to upkeep their rail.
Because certain politicians rescinded regulations.
Let's not go into that.
Rescinded regulations that required the trains to run properly.
Our citizens.
Sorry, Eric.
That's fine. And I completely, to be fair, I completely agree with David, 100%. I just don't want to talk about it on this show because it's
I am couching this in heavy.
Why are you doing that?
I felt like it.
He's drunk, Shiver. You know this.
4 beers and a half a bottle of wine. What do you want from me? I'm still conversing in moderately humanoid linguistics.
I like that.
How many fingers am I holding up?
4 fingers and a thumb half cocked.
Do you call that?
Yeah, it's really difficult to do that with the thumb up there. It hurts. Here we go. Yeah.
David?
I have to tell you, my pinky's finger, look at this. It doesn't go straight. I cannot straighten it of my own volition. I have to grab it and pull it straight. It doesn't go straight of its own volition.
Well, if your other fingers are straight, does it go straight? No,
nope.
It doesn't. That is a hockey injury, I'm guessing.
Nope, both fingers. Born.
Oh wow, that is weird. I never noticed.
I don't like that.
I'm a fucking mutant. I'm a mutant.
You are a mutant. Oh. You are a mutant. That's cool.
Cheers to mutants. We're all mutants somehow. Life is a grand mutation.
Oh, man.
You learn something new about someone every day. I'm 100% straight. Oh,
that's funny.
Yeah, I am the next stage in evolution, citizen.
That's right.
Pinkies that don't straighten. That's the next stage of human evolution.
I was actually going to mention, this is a perfect example. Basically how evolution happens is shit like that happening, and then, the environment deciding that is the best way to make more babies, is to have crooked pinkies, and then everybody does a couple of generations later.
Oh,
I mean, Canadians are definitely the next stage of evolution. I'm not entirely sure if that's a good thing, but we'll go with it. Oh man. So yeah, I really enjoyed this week's ISC and a lot of the stuff that came out this week. I'm really happy that 318 is with us now. Means first of all that they can get more of the problems fixed with 318 with more testing, and also that they can start working on 319 in earnest. It's exciting.
I do apologize, JJ. I do apologize.
Yeah, you're Canadian. You always apologize. That's the deal. Yes.
100% tip. 100%. I have okay. I want to get. We are over time.
Yep.
Are you
His
both
task is
okay?
to talk a lot.
Are
I
you
do
okay
have
for?
to- I do have to leave actually.
Oh,
I have
okay.
people waiting for me.
Can I do?
I can stay and I can pretend to be Eric.
I can give you a few minutes, but I don't. I
Give
can't
give
keep
me
on
yeah.
for very long.
No, that's fine. Give me 2 minutes because I want to say something really quickly about engineering, and then we'll wrap up. So this ISC, I've wondered for a long time about how Star Citizen is going to work in groups. Because everyone wants their own ship. Everyone wants to be a captain. And one of the things about MMOs is normally in a raid, you need, not everyone I know, but most of the time, but like in a raid in an MMO, you need all sorts of things. You need a couple tanks. You need a couple damage dealers. You need some dots. You need some healers. Like you need a grand, like a group of people.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And one of the things that has honestly not always been evident in Star Citizen is what those people are going to do. You're going to have a captain. You might have a couple gunners. Okay, well, what else do you have? What is there beyond the gunner?
Mm-hmm.
And this episode of ISC, it wasn't a good look at it, but it was a good brief of, okay, well, this is the beyond the gunner, right? This is what this is the engineer is Star Citizen's healer.
Oh, totally.
Right?
Yeah.
This is the healer class in Star Citizen. This is how this happens.
The tuner person is like the buff guy. Before you go into the raid, the tuner is going to buff your shit.
But it is, and JJ, I completely agree with you. One of my biggest problems with I really liked actually the MMO New World by Amazon, but you couldn't take on a raid unless you had a party of 3 or more people. And my wife and I are not 3 or more people. We are exactly 2 people. So we couldn't do any of their raids, regardless of our level or skill. And I found that so debilitating for the game. Like, we were restricted not based on our skill, not based on anything, but based on the strict number of our party. And it was shit. It was shit. And we stopped playing because you won't let us play the fucking game.
I'm fucking with you on that one. I am so with you on that one. And every time I've brought that up before, do you know what? Every time the fucking counter is that people say, it's an MMO. What do you think the M stands for? It's like, I don't care about playing with random people. Have you met random people? They're fucking terrible.
Yep.
Sorry, random people. No offense. But you are fucking terrible.
I want to play the way
9 times out of 10 pickup groups are just fucking painful. They are not worth it.
Yep.
You want to play with your friends because you know your friend and you have got the same goals in mind that you are going to work towards. And yeah, all right, Star Citizen right now, yeah, absolutely is a far friendlier MMO than a lot of them out there. But on release, probably not going to be true.
Well, and the thing I want to say about Star Citizen is they're talking about the engineering role. But the engineering role isn't going to be restricted. The engineering role isn't going to be restricted to just engineers. A gunner could hop out of their seat and do the engigging role.
Yep.
Yeah,
You're
100%.
not going to be limited to the number of people. It's your skill. If you want to take a friggin' Carrick as 2 people and go off into the do whatever, you can try. And if you're good enough, you can. And I love that. It's the freedom to do what you want based on the people that you have. You're not restricted to any fucking shit that the game's like, oh no, you have to do this. You have to have one of these and one of these and one of these, or else you can't try. Let me try whatever the I want.
Hey, we
Except
did it 2 weeks in a
raisins.
row. We did it. I don't know, yell about something again. It's amazing.
I'm just yelling that Star Citizen is doing it right, and most MMOs don't do it right because I don't play MMOs because they all fucking shit the bed when it comes to having to play with other people.
Yeah,
That's the
I
thing with a lot of-
you. I agree with you entirely. That's where they always break down for me is when they force you to play with other people.
The problem with the MMO is the M.
Well,
I
it's
don't-
its strongest
like-
quality and its worst quality.
Yeah.
And a lot of co-op games, a lot of MMOs force you into being set number, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
why though? Even an AI is better than just fuck all. I don't think I've ever. There must be out there an MMO that if
Eric?
you want to do this raid, it just gives you this AI rather than having to know 6 people to play with, because it's fucking, at the very least, it's a pain in the ass to be able to say to 5 of your other friends, 3 of your other friends, 4 of you, be here at this time for this amount of time and let's go.
Eric,
It's a-
if you have to go,
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah, I gotta
Oh,
jump.
sorry, yeah.
Sorry, guys.
You jump. No,
Thank
it's
you,
okay.
Thanks everybody.
You jump. I'm going to continue
you guys
ranting.
can sign off the show.
I will sign off. You go, Eric. I'm going to hope that this works.
Yeah.
It might not. Oh, it did.
But you
Sort
see,
of.
this is a perfect fucking example of it, all right? Eric had to fuck off and go. That's how life is. But if you're doing a raid and you need 5 people to keep going, person number 5 is like, oh shit, my kitchen's on fire. I'll be back if I'm lucky. You just
You know
let
what I
4
have?
people down and
Hey,
you're
Shiver,
completely
hey,
fucked. And everything
Shiver.
you've done to that point is just thrown down the toilet.
Shiver, do you know what I have upstairs? I've got children. Do you know what
Are
children
they
do?
yours?
Yeah, they are, unfortunately. I wish I could get rid of them,
You
but
can
they
give them
are.
up for adoption. I keep telling you.
I want to.
Adoption
but I've
is
got
the
children.
best babysitter. You just go in there in the morning, give them up, and then
And
come
never
back in
have
the
to worry about it
evening,
again.
And if you, yeah, exactly. Well, if you want, you can go
Fantastic.
back and you can get them. You don't even have to get the same model. You can be like, do you have this one in blonde?
It's, but like, oh, my kids know. No, they don't. I love them. They're both fantastic, and I wouldn't trade the world for them. But they do make me really tired. But like, I've got kids. I've actually been yelling a bit about this because I love Diablo. Diablo 4 is having 2 beta weekends, and if between the 2 beta weekends you hit level 20, you get a special cosmetic, which who cares, it's a cosmetic, but holy fuck, it's a little backpack with a little baby wolf cub sleeping in the backpack, and like, it's so fucking adorable and I want it, but you only get it if between the 2 weekends you hit level 20. And I don't know about you, but I got fucking kids. And you know what I can't do with fucking kids? Spend enough time on a fucking weekend to hit level 20. It's bullshit. It's
Yeah.
bullshit. And I don't have time. I'm a dad. I have to be a dad. I have to throw my kid up in a dinosaur outfit and
You just
say,
said that
"You're
in
a
the most
dinosaur.
childlike way
You're
as
a
well.
dinosaur.
I'm a
You're a dinosaur."
dad.
I'm a dad. I've got shit to do, which involves taking care of my kid. I love Star Citizen. I love Relay. I love this community. And you know what? God damn it, I wish I had more time for it. I loved doing the transcripts. I loved doing like inverse video shit. Like I genuinely loved it. You didn't, but I did. I loved the you know the inverse like videos we did. I loved those. Those were fun.
Oh yeah, yeah, they were cool. But those transcripts, everyone that was doing them got an ulcer.
Oh yeah, I've got 87 ulcers, but I did love it. But I don't have time.
And the only thanks we get would be from each other.
But like,
yeah.
I don't have time to keep doing that. Cause I'm a dad. You know what? The best purchase I think I've ever made is the Steam Deck. Cause you know what I can do now? I can go upstairs at 11 p.m. and lie down in bed and turn on the Steam Deck and play some games while lying in bed before I fall asleep.
Yeah.
Because that's what I need. I'm sorry. This is going in all kinds of directions. Because cheers. But
But I mean, games like related games like Star Citizen will, in theory, should work for the Steam Deck. So you've got at least that to do. Best per show.
but so Star Citizen's interesting because right now it doesn't respect your time. It takes too long to get in. It takes too long to get to Atmo. It takes too long to get between. But when full persistence is working, when things aren't white, it will, because I can set up in a Carrack and I can set on the way and I can end. And then I can pick up from my Carrack and keep going. And that will be fantastic. And like I can evaluate Star Citizen as it is now, which is wanting, and still understand that Star Citizen, where it's going to be and where they have said that they're going to be, is what I want. I want that consideration, that ability to stop, that ability to run a party of however many you want and not require, you don't have to have an engineer if you don't want to. I don't want to run an extra gunner. Okay, I'm going to run a bunch of AI turrets, and I can.
Yeah, it's
And,
as well with the monetization thing as well. The option is there that if you're someone who lacks the time, but you've got the money, you've got. In theory, I don't know. They haven't talked about this for a very long time, but you can just buy currency in game, and they were going to set the limit you could buy, so it's not extravagant or anything like that.
And I don't even care about currency. I don't care about currency. I care that, you know what? I don't have to start in an Aurora by myself and make my way up to a Carrack where I can pay my friends. I can just, you know what? I work really fucking hard at my job. My job is trying to save the entire fucking planet from a global extinction due to climate change. And I work every day. Evenings, I work really hard to do everything I can to save the planet from climate change. And I get paid not nearly as much as I should, but I get paid okay. And you know what? I'd like to use some of that money to buy myself a ship, and I can, and I love that. I love that I can use my money to buy myself a ship and just play that ship. I don't think it's pay to win, and I think there's a huge difference between pay to win, which is you can't get this shit unless you pay me money, and well, you can either pay us money or you can play and get there in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, it depends on what each person is defining as pay to win, because if you say I'm paying to win and your version of paying to win is you buy the ship, okay, no one can argue with that. Yep, congratulations, you won, you got that ship, well done, you can no longer have to log in, you have that ship, don't bother using it, you won.
But guess what? I went into a battle recently. It was friggin' Ninetales, I think. And I had my my Starfighter, Starfighter Ion, which is an expensive ship. And guess what? I got the shit reamed out of me by like some person in a much less expensive ship who could fly better than me. I'm not paying for an advantage. I'm paying for a bigger ship. I don't have an advantage. You're right, JJ. Like I don't have an advantage. I'm playing for a ship because I want to fly that ship. I've never understood anyone that argued like Star Citizen is not pay to win.
I can understand it. I can understand it. And if that's how someone's going to view it, then okay, cool. If that is how you view Star Citizen, it is getting new ships, and yeah, sure, that's fine. But you've also got, it's a sandbox. There's ways to play the game that are, I'm just going to stick in this ship. This is the ship I want. I'm going to earn my way to this ship, and then I'm going to use the shit out of this ship. And
I am going to start up a salvaging Empire. I'm going to start salvaging by hand in an Aurora, and I'm going to, like, the number of Twitch streamers right now that do like 0 to hero runs. It's completely possible. You play the game, you earn enough, you buy, like, I think CIG are doing. I complain about CIG a lot. I mean, no, I don't actually. I think CIG are fantastic. I genuinely don't complain about them because I think they're I think they're in the top 3 game developers that I can think of. Possibly superseded by Larian, but possibly not. Like they're among the best game developers that I can think of on the planet. They care about their people. They care about the community so damn much. They listen to every single fucking thing we say. And
That's why they pushed Jared in front of the camera to talk to us, because he's like, I ain't taking your shit.
and yeah, and y'all better understand that I bug Jake every day. Every day I'm like, hey Jake, when's the Freelancer getting a rework? And Jake's like, David, shut the fuck up. But I love Jake.
That is actually what he says as well. That's true.
But
Can confirm.
yeah, I don't know. I just look, it's really late. I'm drunk. I gotta sleep. Please, Shiver, I've only been on a couple games on Table of Horrors with you because time and children, which is a theme that I've gone back to several times over the evening. But
His children.
my children, they are mine.
Just want
I
that
do
clear.
own them. I own them. I wish I had more time to be on more things of Table Horrors because it's phenomenal. Every time I've been on, I've really, really enjoyed it. If you like TTRPGs and such at all, please go watch Table of Horrors because Shiver, you put way more work into Table of Horrors than I've ever seen anyone put into anything. So you do a good job. Thank you.
We had a good one yesterday. That they went for a meal with a vampire cannibal, and I actually had to do research into vintage wine,
Oh yeah.
a racehorse,
I'm having a nice
and companies.
2019 Merlot right now.
This was a 2015 Beaujolais,
Oh, okay.
and I even went into such depth as describing the weather for the year, the date it was harvested, and the taste of the wine.
Perfect. That's important. Anyway, Shiver, thank you so much for doing Table of Horrors, and thank you so much for continuing to be part of this, whatever this is. To everyone that's watching us still, one, I apologize. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm genuinely sorry, and I wish Eric was here right now. But he's not, because it's
He's at
late,
that stage
and I
being
understand.
drunk.
We've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, and I still feel like the new guy on the stream.
I mean, you are, compared to me and Eric.
I genuinely remember the first time I ever managed to watch
Yes.
a relay stream. Oh no, you don't. Oh no, you might.
Oh no, I don't
know,
remember
you
that.
probably
I remember the first time you were on.
Yeah, and that was an accident.
Yeah, it was.
Christ, what was it? It was like 2 a.m. in the morning, something like that, my time, and you decided to go live, and I was like, oh, I'll tune in. They've made transcripts. Let's see what they're all like. And there were names on there that people don't even know anymore. I don't know if I can say these names anymore. But I remember those names, and I ended up coming back and watching for some fucking reason.
I don't know.
But yeah,
I
way back when.
I don't do this half as much as I'd like to. Hey, Dan.
I don't know half of you as well as I'd like, and I know less than half of you
Half
as
as
well
you,
as I
as much
want.
as I want. Yeah, exactly that.
Something like
No,
that. Yeah.
I there are not many things.
He's going to wake up tomorrow morning and he's going to be like,
Nah, I'm not actually that drunk.
would you like a chili chutney and egg sandwich?
I don't know what that is, but probably not unless it's on no sugar bread.
It's a
Because
reference for
I'm on
JJ, really.
a diet right now. I'm done. I've lost
Thanks,
7 pounds in 3 weeks.
Oh, nice, nice.
Just by
You
cutting.
keep giving it to me, you bastard.
I'm sorry. The only thing I've done is I've cut out processed sugar. No more processed sugar. Anyway, I love doing this. I hope we never stop doing this. I love Star Citizen. I love all of y'all that watch us. Thank you for putting up with us. Thank you for listening to us for too many damn years. And what should I end on?
We know that you have a choice when it comes to your Star Citizen podcast, so we appreciate your valued, continued support and watching us. 2 soldiers in a tank? No, 2 fish in a tank. One says to the other, how do you drive this thing? 2 soldiers in a tank. One says to the other, oh, what was it? 2 soldiers. 2 soldiers in a tank. One says to the other, 2 soldiers in a tank. One says to the other, the other one says, if you love me, you'd swallow that.
Damn it, Shimmer. Thank you all so much for watching. I love you all.
Wait,
Please stay safe.
Wait.
What? Go.
Tune in tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow to Table of Horrors. At fucking 10:30 UTC, I think. We're carrying on our playthrough of Sons of the Forest. Day after that, same time, we're doing Shadowrun with Softy GMing, which is a great time. And then Friday in your Western time zone, 10:30 UTC, we have GTM carrying on.
Shimmer. Who are you? What do you do? What do you do? Do you do things? Let's find out.
Who are you? What do you do? What do you do? Do you do things? Let's find. Who are you? What do you do? Do you do things? Let's find out.
Shimmer, you have 18 drinks and then say it.
I don't drink anymore for this exact reason.
You're very lucky. I shouldn't. I only drink twice a week now, and this is one of the days.
That's fair.
Thank you all so much for watching.
And yeah, but we do see all the names pop up in chat, and we see the names pop up over on YouTube and things like that. And yeah, thank you, basically.
I love y'all. Seriously. Cheers. And have a good night. Have a good time.